It is not easy to express a sense of loss, since the initial shock is often succeeded by a mixture of other feelings.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're looking at the most dramatically impactful liberties, deep cuts, and dramatizations of events in Netflix's acclaimed period epic.
My name is Michael.
Out, get out!
I promise you have nothing to fear from me.
There is an armed policeman outside this door.
No, there isn't.
Number 20, Elizabeth rejects a birthday invitation. Persona non grata. Not all of the shocks on the crown are necessarily surprising. With the end of Charles and Camilla's respective marriages, the prince plans a party for his mistress's 50th birthday.
Which leads me to my next question. Are you coming?
Can't, I'm afraid. I'm going to be in Derbyshire.
Really, it's all about displaying the genuineness of their relationship to win over the public.
What one really values in life. One's health, one's family, and one's friends.
As essential as the Queen's attendance would be, she politely declines the invitation due to a prior engagement.
It's a matter of principle. Two perfectly good marriages, two perfectly happy families have been broken up by this.
Love, Mummy? Love?
I don't want to debate this any longer. I'm going to be in Derbyshire.
Of course, it's obvious that she doesn't want to be seen condoning her son's infamous infidelity. Charles and Elizabeth's meeting is passive-aggressively tense, merely confirming the latter's disapproval of Camilla. Still, it chillingly exposes the conflict between the Queen's moral image and her complicated feelings about Charles's judgment. After everything with Camilla, this standoff foreshadows the final season's clash between mother and son. Number 19, Charles and Diana reunite after her first solo trip. War. Princess Di's independent stardom is solidified by a solo trip to New York. Meanwhile, her husband Charles proposes to Camilla, who fears their marriage would never be accepted by the public.
Don't you want us to be free to live our life in the open?
I do. But I want to be humiliated and attacked even less.
Her heartbreak awkwardly becomes the centre of Charles and Diana's argument after they reunite. When Diana asks why she should care about her husband's mistress, he simply exclaims,
Because I care about her!
The ensuing rant makes clear where his heart lies. As degrading as this confrontation is for Diana, it affirms that his loveless marriage is also tragic for Charles. Already set a year after Diana's first solo trip in real life, this scene obviously isn't about accuracy. It's about expressing how much her fairy tale marriage hurt everyone.
Camilla is who I want. That is where my loyalties lie. That is who my priority is.
Not the mother of your children.
Don't bring the boys into this.
All right. Not the woman you married!
I refuse to be blamed any longer for this grotesque misalliance!
Number 18, Fire at Windsor Castle. Annus Horribilis. A few days before the Queen's Ruby Jubilee in 1992, a fire at Windsor Castle caused tens of millions of pounds worth of damage.
People are just absolutely stunned by what's happening around them.
The Crown not only dramatises this disaster with harrowing production values, but creatively utilises it in the story. Princess Margaret even suggests that the disaster could have been arson.
One can imagine multiple suspects, each with their own perfectly plausible motive to burn the place down.
While it was ultimately attributed to a spotlight sparking onto a curtain, the fire proved an apt metaphor for tension in the Windsor family. Queen Elizabeth certainly saw it as a proper punctuation for what she called an annus horribilis, Latin for horrible year.
To describe it in this way, annus horribilis. People will remark on it. Not just because of the theatrical deviation into Latin. What's your point?
After all, 1992 delivered plenty of drama leading up to this devastating symbolic set piece. Number 17, A Question of Fidelity. Assassins. Elizabeth's longtime friendship with Lord Porchester finally pushes Philip to air his jealousies. He even stoops to vulgarity when questioning his wife's fidelity.
Porty is like family.
Is he?
Yes. Part of the furniture.
Well, as long as you don't sit on him anytime soon.
Later, before the couple leave for Churchill's birthday dinner, Elizabeth breaks the awkward silence by admitting that a marriage to Porchy would probably be easier. However, inconveniently, Philip is the only man she's ever loved.
The only person I have ever loved is you. And can you honestly look me in the eye and say the same?
Her biting but sincere expression finally puts this form of domestic tension to rest. That is, until the Profumo affair sparks rumours about the company Philip keeps. He maintains his innocence and love for Elizabeth, as history supports. Either way, she manages her suspicions more gracefully than he had in the past.
No, just come back.
What? What? Say it. Say it. A different man?
Number 16, The Terror of the London Smog, Act of God. For the first 3 episodes, The Crown strictly focuses on the epic drama within the new monarch's court. Then, Act of God follows with a practically apocalyptic dramatization of the Great Smog of 1952.
Long queues are formed on main roads, and there are reports of motorists abandoning their vehicles and continuing on foot. London Airport is expected to be closed.
5 days of visible air pollution caused distress and thousands of deaths across London. The show not only captures this historic pandemonium, but skillfully frames it as the first major public crisis under Queen Elizabeth's reign. It was shocking enough that the show changed narrative direction to become a more episodic period piece. And with the effectiveness of the production and Elizabeth's empathy for the people, audiences could really see the urgency of the Clean Air Act of 1956.
Monarchy is a calling from God. That is why you're crowned in an abbey, not a government building, why you're anointed, not appointed. It's an archbishop that puts the crown on your head, not a minister or public servant, which means that you're answerable to God in your duty, not the public.
Number 15, the paparazzi take Diana and Dodi public. 2 photographs. Diana Spencer's media stardom with the royal family became a curse with her great love post-divorce.
What do you think I like most about you?
My eyes?
No, but I do like your eyes.
She's on a humanitarian mission in Bosnia when a press conference is hijacked by questions about Egyptian playboy Dodi Fayed.
Diana, does the Queen know about your new boyfriend?
Gordon, if we could stick to the subject at hand, please.
Are you in love, Diana?
His romance with Diana was formally declared by a photo of them kissing on a yacht. The show speculates that Dodi's father, Mohammed, tipped off the paparazzi, having manipulated the relationship to serve his status. What's more accurate is that Diana was devastated by the press turning on her. This humiliating conference was just the beginning of a media circus that would be the death of the couple. At least the show's later liberty of Dodi proposing to Diana redeemed the relationship behind the scandal.
And so, I have a question I want to ask you, to which I hope you will indeed tell me yes.
No.
Number 14, the execution of the Romanovs, Ipatiev House. It's definitely a surprise when this episode opens with a different royal family. In 1917, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia and his family were executed by Bolshevik revolutionaries at Ipatiev House. As infamous as this tragedy was, the Crown dramatizes it with uniquely graphic violence. The indignity of the Romanovs' death and disrespectful burial represents their humanity on dark terms. King George V would forever regret not sending forces to rescue his cousin Nicholas. In 1992, his descendant Elizabeth delivers some closure by persuading Boris Yeltsin to give the Romanovs a proper burial. Still, the earlier juxtaposition of George's leisure and Nicholas's gruesome demise offer a sobering reminder of such powerful figures' mortality.
Hurry up, man!
Number 13, Diana's brakes fail. No woman's land. The Crown doesn't like to humour the darkest rumours about the Windsors, until Princess Diana confirms a few in an interview for Panorama.
Some might view this as you taking revenge on the Prince of Wales.
But I don't speak with bitterness or anger, but sorrow, because our marriage has failed.
Her exposé of the royal family's dysfunction was such a historic scandal that she feared for her life. The show portrays that with Diana driving through an intersection when her car brakes stall.
Oh my God.
She comes to a safe stop, but is overwhelmed by paranoid suspicions of sabotage. While this scene is supposedly based on a real-life incident, it bluntly foreshadows Diana's death in a car accident 2 years later. Some viewers found this creative liberty to be in bad taste. In any case, it's a startling metaphor for Diana's tragic state with the Windsors and the public. Number 12, Charles and Camilla's intimate phone call. The way ahead. Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles' affair came out in the most embarrassing way in 1993. But The Crown really captures the revelation as devastating for the royal family. They're all shown reading the Daily Mirror's published transcript of a leaked phone conversation between Charles and Camilla.
Like any language, it's so much more than a collection of words. It's a means of building bridges between people of different backgrounds, cultures, and generations.
Their love story is formally introduced to the public as steamy banter between the beloved Princess Di's husband and his mistress.
Oh, I quite agree. I read it to my private secretary. He thinks I might have gone too far.
I suppose it might be better to leave the audience wanting more.
Yes. I suppose one has to be aware of it in the room.
Crassly dubbed Tampon Gate, this scandal is obviously a stark departure from the show's mostly elevated dialogue. Still, it's effectively framed as a key plot point, a violation that cruelly misrepresents the couple to the world.
Darling, I wish you were pressing mine.
God. So do I. Harder and harder.
Oh, darling.
Moreover, it further humiliates Diana and draws Charles's family from his true love. Number 11, Charles tries to push the Queen out. Queen Victoria Syndrome. Public polls in 1991 suggest waning faith in Queen Elizabeth due to the longevity of her reign, hence Queen Victoria Syndrome.
I'm sorry to disturb, sir. But I thought you should be aware of this.
It's outrageous.
Charles, however, is generally regarded as a qualified potential king for his progressive image. He brings that up in conversation with John Major, as well as Edward VII's great but brief reign after Victoria's death.
It's just a poll, sir.
True. Not a reassuring one.
Polls come and go.
Dangerous to ignore them.
Equally dangerous to be guided by them.
The new Prime Minister recognises what the Prince is implying, but he doesn't bend to Charles's increasingly aggressive suggestion that they push his mother to abdicate.
Judge for yourself whether this institution that we all care about so deeply is in safe hands.
This tense meeting sets the tone for a new age of Charles asserting his claim to the throne. What's more eerie is that this episode came out just 2 months after Elizabeth's death, 31 years after said meeting. Number 10, Philip issues a warning to Diana. War. As a fellow outsider, Prince Philip was always Diana's greatest ally. However, when she declares that she wants out of the royal family, this changes almost instantly.
If this family can't give me the love and security that I feel I deserve, then I believe I have no option but to break away, officially, and find it myself.
I wouldn't do that if I were
Why
you.
not?
Taken aback by her defiance, he realises they're not as alike as he first thought. The atmosphere turns ominous as Prince Philip issues a threatening warning.
Let's just say I can't see it ending well for you.
I hope that isn't a threat, sir.
Our foresight makes this moment even more sinister, especially considering the rumours that would later emerge.
Although we are both outsiders who married in, you and I are quite different.
Yes. I can see that now.
As he leaves, Diana realises she is now more alone than ever and decides that she must raise her shields. And of course, as we know, this is just the beginning. Number 9, the Queen unveils her political side, 48-1. It's practically unheard of for the constitutional monarchy to interfere with politics, but the Queen vocalises her disapproval when Margaret Thatcher refuses to join the Commonwealth in condemning apartheid.
There are ways of Britain being great again, and that is through a revitalised economy, not through association with unreliable tribal leaders in eccentric costumes.
But isn't that all I am, Prime Minister? A tribal leader in eccentric costumes?
Certainly not.
Rumours of a rift between them were already buzzing, and it doesn't help that Elizabeth decides to fuel the rumour mill, despite her press secretary's warnings.
And if it were to become public knowledge that there had been an unprecedented rift between Sovereign and Prime Minister, would that really be so bad?
Well?
Inevitably, the story erupts, leaving the Queen to face public backlash and, of course, Thatcher's wrath.
My fellow Commonwealth leaders, many of whom I consider to be friends, now feel that I have betrayed them on an issue most important to them.
Well, they need only read the Sunday Times. It will give them no doubt as to your position.
Immediate damage control gets underway to rectify this royal faux pas. But to save face, Michael Shea is dismissed from his post before he can even utter "I told you so." Number 8, Lord Mountbatten's death. Gold stick.
Time to catch some lobster.
The first episode of Season 4 briefly addresses the troubles that afflicted the United Kingdom and Ireland. We follow the various royals as they enjoy some downtime during the 1979 August bank holiday weekend. Dickie embarks on a family fishing trip, but not before writing a heartfelt letter to his beloved great-nephew.
You're more than a man, more than a prince. And one day, dear boy, you shall be king. And now, to the sea.
While the sense of foreboding never disappears, nothing can quite prepare you for this explosive climax.
1, 2, and...
The Provisional IRA claimed responsibility for the attack that claimed the lives of several on board. Even if you remember that fateful day, it's no less startling to watch here. Number 7, the tragic past of Princess Alice. Bubbykins. Struggling to bounce back from their panned BBC documentary, Princess Anne sneakily gets a journalist to interview her grandmother, Princess Alice. He uncovers so many unimaginable details about her painful past, and still, they only just cover the tip of the iceberg.
I was born deaf.
Oh, I'm sorry. But otherwise perfectly normal.
Well, I thought so. But obviously others didn't, because then I was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
She was born deaf, diagnosed with schizophrenia, and committed to a mental institution, where she was mistreated by psychoanalysts.
I was treated by Sigmund Freud. He was not a kind man.
She endured so much, overcame immense obstacles, and made incredible sacrifices for the good of others.
But instead of business, Princess Alice dedicated her life to charity work, public service, and campaigning for social justice, often at great personal risk.
Her story is as heartbreaking as it is extraordinary, and it's shocking that this interview is fictional, because she deserves to have her story known. Number 6, Buckingham Palace has a spy. Olding.
Speaking of enigmas, what do we make of Mr. Wilson? Once heard the rumours, of course.
Rumours, ma'am?
Yes, whilst on a trade mission to Moscow. The KGB got him. Nonsense, I know.
While suspicions are raised over a potential KGB spy infiltrating Downing Street, the real culprit is right under the Queen's nose, showing her artwork. Sir Anthony Blunt is revealed to be a part of the Cambridge Five, a ring of spies who leaked confidential information to the Soviet Union.
The truth will out. I'm afraid I can now confirm that the surveyor of the Queen's pictures, Sir Anthony Blunt, was the 4th man in the Cambridge spy ring.
Almost unbelievably, security chooses to turn a blind eye just to save face and protect ties with the US. While Elizabeth subtly drops hints about his treachery during their next meeting, Philip opts for a more blunt approach.
One wrong step, you treacherous snake, and I will expose you and have you thrown in jail.
But he's stopped in his tracks when Sir Anthony drops another bombshell revelation.
Imagine how awful it would be, for example, if those pictures saw the light of day now, the storm it would create.
Number 5, Camila and Diana have lunch. Fairy tale.
Very happy to go with the flow.
Well, he'll love that. He's so fussy and set in his ways. He'll love it if you adapt to him.
Audiences were surprised to learn that Diana and Camilla really did meet for lunch, although reality probably wasn't quite as scandalous as the Crown's imagining of the event. Bored and lonely, Diana takes Camilla up on a lunch date invitation, and the pair meet at a restaurant called Ménage à Trois. While there, Camilla makes numerous digs at the future princess, while either choosing to ignore or being completely oblivious of her increasing irritation.
Darling, you really know nothing, do you?
Diana was well aware of Camilla and Charles's prior relationship, but at this moment, she realises that while she might have the ring, Camilla ain't going anywhere either.
What about hunting?
Not if I can help it. More of a townie, really.
So you see yourself living more in London than in the country?
Why'd you ask?
Just curious.
Number 4, the Queen discovers her uncle's dark history, Vergangenheit. Years after abdicating the throne, the Duke of Windsor starts growing wary of non-palace life. However, his plans to rally support for his restoration instantly evaporate due to the revelation of the Marburg files.
In these papers, you're quoted as saying that the Führer's desire for peace was in complete agreement with your own point of view.
The documents uncovered his ties with top-rank Nazis, as well as a plot to put him back on the throne.
A plan to reinstate the Duke of Windsor as King of England, effectively betraying and dethroning your dear late father in return for German forces being given free rein across Europe.
The evidence against him is harrowing, as Elizabeth learns just how far he was willing to go to simply wear the crown once again.
And that continued bombing, that is, the continued slaughter of his fellow countrymen and former subjects, would, I quote, soon make Britain ready for peace.
It's no wonder the royals tried to keep this evidence from the public, as it's too heinous to even imagine that this could have happened.
There is no possibility of my forgiving you. The question is, how on earth can you forgive yourself?
Number 3, the Aban Disaster. Aban. This Season 3 episode is dedicated to the real-life tragedy that wiped out almost an entire generation of Abavan's youth.
Sir.
Jesus Christ.
Sir.
Under the desk, all of you, quickly!
On this fateful day in October 1966, an avalanche of coal waste hurtled into the village, destroying everything in its path and taking the lives of 116 children and 28 adults.
Every time the whistle blows, it means they think they've heard something. Another child trapped beneath the wreckage.
The depiction of the funeral is particularly heart-wrenching and will stay with you long after the end credits roll.
All my trust on thee is stayed. All my help from thee I bring.
While the village mourns, the government focuses on deflecting blame, and the Queen is nowhere in sight. In 2002, the Queen reportedly described her delayed response as her biggest regret. Number 2, the royal cousins, the hereditary principle.
I only ask because I am aware, through professional colleagues, of the sisters.
This revelation from Season 4 left us scooping our jaws off of the ground. In an episode that puts a spotlight on mental health, Princess Margaret discovers that cousins she long thought to be dead were alive and living in a care facility.
They have pictures of the whole family, which they know is their family.
To make matters worse, we are just as horrified as she is when the Queen Mother justifies the family's decision to essentially erase all memory of the pair from public knowledge.
The hereditary principle already hangs by such a precarious thread. Throw in mental illness, and it's over.
While many elements of this episode are fabricated, there is a foundation of truth behind it, which came as a great shock to many viewers too.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, the Queen breaks her promise to Princess Margaret. Gloriana.
I was prepared to go through it all and support you as a sister because I'd given you my word.
Princess Margaret and Peter Townshend's whirlwind affair had its fair share of obstacles in Season 1. But it seemed that the dust was finally settling, and with the Queen's blessing, the nuptials could go ahead. Little did she know, however, that their mother had been conspiring with the government to make sure that this marriage wouldn't happen. Elizabeth is backed into a corner, forced to decide between her promise to her sister and her duty to the church.
I cannot allow you to marry Peter and remain part of this family. That is my decision.
As Elizabeth breaks the news to her sister, we can almost feel Margaret's heartbreak, utter devastation, and the agonizing pangs of betrayal.
Without him, I'm lost.
What do you think were the most resonant moments from The Crown? Give your decree in the comments.
I believe it was Napoleon who said, "Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake."
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.